it is a layer of protection. We hope people have developed the habit to be able to use masks as needed during the respiratory virus season, not just for COVID, but for all the other respiratory pathogens that will be transmitted around this time. So I do think now is the time to get your masks ready if you don't already have them.
If mask mandates come back, will you comply?
Yes.
You will?
I guess we have to. We don't have a choice.
Yay or nay to that kind of stuff again during flu season?
No.
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, if it's a mandate, it's a mandate.
I barefaced it through the whole pandemic, so I would say that it doesn't affect. It's not an effect. It's just something for people to say that they're doing something safety procedures, but it's not.
Obviously, no one likes it, but if it's necessary, we got to do what we got to do sometime to stay healthy and keep the vulnerable people healthy as well.
Oh, that's fine. I'm okay with it. It just gives us an added layer of protection because they're expecting, a potentially infectious season in the upswing with the new subvariants that are on the uptick. And then, of course, coincidentally, happening at the same time as the seasonal flus.
I'm not wearing no masks. I'm mandated to wear it at work, and I don't.
It'll be around for a long time. There'll be vaccinations against it, and you've just got to get on with your life, really. You can't live in fear.
So what do you think? If things like forced mask mandates and vaccine passports were to return, would the people just fall in line? I'm Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, standing at Vancouver's English Bay area to ask the people about just that. Drea Humphrey here with Rebel News, and recently Alex Jones claims that a TSA whistleblower told him that by mid-September they'd start to be seeing mandatory face masks in the US, and by mid-October you'd see them across the board in airlines because of a new variant coming out of Canada.
You will all have to wear masks again, and so will airport employees. Then, by the middle of October, they are going to say that everyone flying has to wear a mask. And in the meetings, people began to ask them, well, I mean, why is this happening? They said, well, because of the new variant in Canada and because of the WHO, they may, declare this. But regardless, we've been told this is going to happen.
Now, of course, those claims were quickly followed by articles calling him a factless conspiracy theorist. But what do you think? Will face mask mandates return? And if they do, will people comply? Most importantly, what do the facts say about this issue? Recently, we reported to you that Ottawa Hospitals has just put a sweeping policy out that does make people have to wear face mask mandates anytime they're in a waiting room or their clinical units in the hospital. Now, is that just the beginning of the dominoes starting to fall? Well, in British Columbia, it seems so. Our mandate-happy provincial health officer is already considering making face masks mandatory across the board in hospitals in our province, just before they release their new vaccination campaign for the fall. But what do you think the people will actually say if face masks become mandatory or vaccine mandates or lockdown? I'm here at Vancouver's English Bay, a very popular place for tourists and Vancouverites alike. So we should get a pretty well-rounded response from the people. And while you're watching, you can open up another tab and go to nomoremasks.ca, sign our petition so the officials in power know that you've had enough with such mandates.
In our own particular context, certainly in our area, there's been an uptick in some of the COVID-19 indicators. For me personally, there have been cases around, even my work colleagues. So that's one of the reasons why we are wearing masks today.
What would you think if mask mandates were to return?
I don't think you should mandate anybody. That's a personal choice for people to make.
The public health officer of BC is currently considering bringing them back for hospitals. That could be a domino effect. How about yourself? What would you say if face masks were mandated again?
I really don't have an opinion on it. I mean, there's pros and cons to
react to it. So, I mean, hospitals are completely different. So,
Yeah, that's that. What do you think about some of the measures we did take here? Things like vaccine passports. Was that reasonable or a little bit much now that time's kind of passed?
we're Americans.
Oh, you're Americans. Okay, where are you from?
Ours were probably a little different than yours.
We're from the Detroit area.
Okay, so do you think yours was harsher or less harsh?
Sounds like it was less harsh.
Okay. Did you guys have vaccine passports in Detroit?
We did not have vaccine. I had to have proof of vaccination when I traveled, yes.
Okay, but not just to go to a restaurant like we did here.
No, absolutely not.
We were not mandated to get a vaccine.
Okay.
A lot of the young people refused to do it.
Just actually became better after the quarantine, after the just life when life get back to normal.
When you think about the measures that we did take, do you think we handled things well? Did we overreact or?
Actually, well, I've been to a few countries during COVID, and Canada handled it pretty well. I mean, I wouldn't say that we were too safe with it, but I mean, it was reasonable. Yeah.
And how about yourself? Lockdowns, vaccine passports, was that reasonable or a bit much?
I don't know. It was definitely quite an experience because I had to move here from another country, and when I did that, I had to live in a dorm, and they didn't let me in basically because of the whole COVID thing.
I came to Canada from Qatar, and they were really safe with it, and they actually handled it like pretty well. We had like least cases compared to other countries. Yeah, and it was, but honestly, for me, I would say they were a little too safe because, well, for me, I spent like a year and a half, almost 2 years in lockdown there, and it was too much, especially when school started. They didn't allow us to go to school when the cases were like minimal, so.
Okay, so if mask mandates come back, will you comply?
Yes.
You will?
I guess we have to. We don't have a choice, but yeah.
Where are you visiting from?
Brazil.
Oh, Brazil. Okay. Did you guys have like face mask mandates and vaccine policies and things like that?
Yes.
Yes. What would be your thoughts if that was to return? Would you be okay going along with that, or did you go along in the first place?
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think it's a reasonable measure?
Maybe yes. Yes.
Oh, that's fine. I'm okay with it. It just gives us an added layer of protection because you're expecting, a potentially infectious season in the upswing with the new subvariants that are on the uptick. And then, of course, coincidentally, happening at the same time as the seasonal flus, so I think it's a wise decision.
So do you think we should do this every flu season then? It's
Not
just
necessarily.
what would it take to stop?
Less infectious residual effects on the subvariants, right? Because it slowly, has having a lesser effect over the years. It's weakening.
Do you guys live in BC or visiting?
Visiting.
Okay, from where?
Seattle, Washington.
Okay, not too far. We're asking people what they would think if things like face mask policies and vaccine restrictions came back.
I wouldn't mind it. I mean, if it's a mandate, it's a mandate. It's something that is put out there for something that is precautious for us. So I'm not against it. If we have to do it, we have to do it. I'm a healthcare provider. I worked in the healthcare for some time now, and I'm okay with it.
And so I'm just curious because I don't know the answer to this. Are your unvaccinated healthcare workers allowed to work in Seattle right now or not yet?
It just depends on the hospital facility.
Okay.
But it just really depends on it. It comes down to politics.
In this province, they're still not back to work. Do you guys agree with that? It's okay as long as it's sort of mandated?
I'm not wearing no masks. I'm mandated to wear it at work, and I don't.
Okay, all right. So you wouldn't comply. Why is that?
Because, for one, I can't breathe in them things. And for two, I don't feel like they're helpful. You say, oh, well, you're required to wear a mask, but you got to be 6 feet. So 6 feet safe, why do you got to wear a mask? And if a mask is safe, why do we got to be 6 feet? It don't make sense.
It sounds like a lot of logic. How about yourself?
I barefaced it through the whole pandemic, so I would say that it doesn't affect. It's not an effect. It's just something for people to say that they're doing something safety procedures, but it's not.
So, what do you think, Mother Goose? Mask mandate again, yes or no? I'll take that as a no, folks. Can I ask you what your thoughts would be if you saw things like face mask mandates return to Alberta? Would you be okay with that, or?
I don't know. Forward to it. Yeah, frankly, we're done with it. We're done with it. Yeah.
You're done, right? So I guess you're done with lockdowns and stuff like that?
Definitely, yeah. Cannot see like a 2020 repeat again, so.
Well, looking back at it and the measures that were taken, do you guys think that it was reasonable considering the time, or do you think we overreacted, your province included?
So frankly, we weren't there in Alberta when the COVID happened. We just moved back here.
So we don't know what was, yeah.
Okay, tell us about it. What was India like?
India was all locked down, and 2 years we were shut from everything. The schools were closed. Everything was online. So we've actually faced a very hard time.
Wow. So what would you say about India's response to it? Do you think it was pretty good considering, or it was just...
Looking at the population in India, I think it was a good move to wear face masks, because you have so many people around, but we don't want to see that again.
I think it would be a sad thing for everyone, but my opinion is that, if it's necessary, like, we have to protect ourselves and protect others. But obviously no one likes it, but if it's necessary, like, we got to do what we got to do sometime to stay healthy and keep the vulnerable people healthy as well. But yeah, I don't think anybody would welcome it, but I know there's still a lot of people that still wear masks now. Yeah, so that's my thoughts.
What do you make of, in the beginning, we were kind of told things like mask mandates and vaccines would be the way out of these kinds of measures, but it lasted quite a long time, and there's talk of some of them repeating. What do you think about that?
I honestly think that a lot of people did the best they could under really scary, new, frustrating, fearful circumstances. So I don't want to fault the government or anyone for trying to do what they thought was best in the moment. It just seemed like it was evolving every day, and we were just all trying to cope with that the best we could.
Mandatory face masks, would you be down with that?
Nah.
No? How come?
I don't know. It's like uncomfortable to wear it.
Okay, I hear an accent. Where are you guys from?
Mexico.
Okay, what was it like there? How was it during lockdowns and things like that, or did you have that?
I know it was like everyone at their homes, online school. It wasn't good. No.
So yay or nay to that kind of stuff again during flu seasons?
No.
Looking back at it, things like vaccine passports, that was quite a... we've never seen anything like that before. Do you think that was a reasonable approach, or was it a bit too much now that time has passed?
Yes, I think it's reasonable because there could have been twice as many deaths if they didn't intervene with the COVID vaccine, as opposed to 6 million worldwide deaths. There could have been twice as many. So I think it played an important role in public health. Yes, and we still carry the memory from it. So, with your body immune system, although it's only really effective for up to 6 months, there's still a certain amount of memory in the body. So I think it's going to be ongoing. We're going to have booster shots every 6 months for a few years to come. Yes.
Is it a little strange that people are still catching COVID after being up to date even on their boosters?
Not really, but people aren't typically getting as sick anymore. It's not like people are dying by the multitudes or millions like they were initially. So the vaccine has its effect. It's mitigating the virus slowly over time.
So you guys had your own experience out in Australia.
We did indeed, yeah, and we're happy that it's over and done with.
Right.
We really are.
What if you think it started to come back in the flu season? Would you guys do things like mask mandates and isolating from friends?
Hopefully not.
I think it's something we've got to learn to live with. It'll be around for a long time. There'll be vaccinations against it, and you've just got to get on with your life, really. You can't live in fear.
Well, in BC, they're coming out with a new campaign to encourage vaccinations and considering more mask policies. What do you make of us being told, just do this and then it will be over, but we're kind of seeing a little bit of it starting up again?
I don't think it'll ever be over, but in Australia, we've had 4 vaccinations against it. The original one, a booster, and then 2 boosters after that. And I think you have to draw the line somewhere. You can't just live in fear of it. So really, if you want to wear a mask and it feels good for you, do it. If not, just go with it,
So you heard from the people about what they think, but let us know in the comments what you would think if you start to see policies like this return. Also, if you want to know what Quebecers thought when my colleague Alexa Laval asked them very similar questions, you can hit this article, which is linked in the description box below. I'm Drea Humphrey for Rebel News. Do you want to see the return of mandated face diapers? Neither do I. Go to nomoremasks.ca, sign and share our petition there. And if you appreciate our journalism, you can chip in a few bucks to keep it going strong while you do. It's time to tell the officials who have the power to make change that when it comes to my body and your body, no means no.